Welcome back. A showdown brewing over Obamacare. So will it be the first thing on the chopping block for the new Congress? And what is the plan to replace it?
Our next guest has some ideas, and joining us now is Pennsylvania Congressman Mike Kelly. He's a member of the House Ways and Means Committee, which has jurisdiction over health care reform. Congressman, thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning.
So Obamacare, a hot topic all over the news. How to repeal it, when to repeal it, what to replace it with. What's the latest from your perspective?
Well, you know, right now we are starting the repeal as we talk. You know, last week, Vice President-elect Pence came into our conference. He was very clear about this. He says, you know what, guys, we made promises, and we're going to keep those promises. First is the repeal, and then the replacement of Obamacare. And that's the mission that we're on right now. And you're going to see it happen very quickly.
Congressman, you know that the argument is that you guys have no plan, right? And if you look at the Kaiser Family Foundation poll on Obamacare, 49% want the ACA repealed, 47% of Americans don't want it repealed, and 20% say Congress should vote to repeal and replace later on. So what is the plan when you move that gap? The big concern is the gap, right? You get rid of it, and there's a space in between. What are you going to do to fill that gap?
Sure. Well, first of all, do we have a plan? We've had a plan. Something called the Better Way that we've had in place for a long time now, that anybody can go and take a look at that and see what our plans are for the replacement of Obamacare. But I want people to understand one thing, and this is really clear. The plan that you're on right now, you're not going to lose it on January the 21st because Mr. Trump was sworn into office. This idea that somehow the rug is going to be pulled out from under you is another one of those whoppers. You know, growing up, I was told a couple of things. Number one, don't make promises you can't keep. And number two, don't lie to people. When you lie to people, you break that trust. We've been watching this now for 8 years, and we said, you know what? It was never true. When the president said, if you have a doctor you like, you can keep him. If you have a plan you like, you can keep him. And by the way, your premiums are going to go down. Nothing could be further from the truth. Republicans are going to change that. They're not going to change that for the good of Republicans. They're going to do that for the good of the American people. That's the reason we won on November the 8th, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to keep that promise.
Talk to us about the Cadillac tax. You say that's the reason why prices are going up. You want to repeal that.
Well, sure, because when you look at the Cadillac tax, you know I'm a Cadillac dealer, by the way, but the Cadillac tax was named that because, yeah, but listen, now I'm a congressman. I'm happy doing both, by the way. But the Cadillac tax was aimed at those employers who provided what the Obama administration said overly generous health care package for their associates. Now, the Cadillac tax was then put into place. And listen, for those employers who put in place that health care package that's overly generous, we're going to have a 40% excise tax on that if you continue to do that. I mean, nothing is more un-American than telling people, look, you're treating your employees too good. You're treating your associates too good. So for an individual, if the cost exceeded $10,200, 40% tax on the overage. For a family, $27,500. If it went beyond that, 40% excise tax. Why would you take away from hardworking American people a health care package that's picked up by their employer, not by hardworking American taxpayers?
No, there's no doubt.
That doesn't make sense.
There's no doubt Obamacare is flawed. But the question really on Capitol Hill right now is the promise was made to repeal Obamacare on day one, but the plans and the exact legislation, which takes time, may not necessarily be ready on day one. So is there a split in the caucus? Are there people saying maybe we wait a week or two before we repeal it so we have something to replace it with right away? Because that gap, as Clayton talked about, is something folks are concerned about.
Yeah, and I understand that. But again, I want to go back to the gap is there because we're going to do something that's thoughtful. Listen, it has to be affordable, it has to be accessible, and it has to be sustainable. That's the key to it. Right. We believe competition is what drives a better product and a lower price and makes it better for the American people.
Congressman Mike Kelly, great to see you this morning. I know at 1:05 p.m. he'll be watching.
What he'll be doing.
We know what you'll be doing, sir.
Thanks, Congressman.
Thanks a lot.
Go Steelers. Go Steelers.
There we go. He got it in.